back to the show. This is still GH today here on GHOne TV. I told you that when I was very young in Sunday school, somewhere in the Methodist Church, they say, Christ Sir, so that is the essence for Easter. That is the essence for your holiday and you being home at home and me being here on your TV screens. But that's okay. That's what we all signed up for, right? We all choose our parts. But this morning, we talk about the essence of Easter. We talk about Christianity. We talk about chieftaincy. And then we talk about politics. My guest this morning, he's a former General Secretary of the Christian Council. He's also the Senior Lecturer, Department of Religion and Human Development, KNUST. Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni Frimpong. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Lily.
How are you doing?
I'm great, and I hope you are doing so.
I'm doing awesome. I wish I was home, but hey.
I hope you are in people's home right now.
I know.
Sharing breakfast with them.
I know. Yeah. So this is exciting for me. But how have you been ever since you hung your robes as the former General Secretary of the Christian Council?
Oh, I was, but let me say thank you to you and your team for the opportunity.
You're welcome.
And say good morning and happy Easter to our cherished viewers. I was teaching at KNUST. I've been teaching at KNUST since 2005. I was teaching at KNUST, so I moved from KNUST to Osu Christian Council as General Secretary, as you mentioned. So after, and I was given permission by the university. So after Christian Council, I went back to KNUST. So I'm teaching and I enjoy teaching.
At Easter first. For a lot of Christians out there, what does Easter mean?
Yes. Easter is one of the most important festivals, celebration in Christianity.
Why?
Why is, we may talk about three important things. It has something to do with sacrifice. Something that God has always been. In fact, you have sacrifice even in almost every religion. But in Christianity, one way is when human beings are weak and we are limited, we are not sure what to do. God always make intervention. And intervention, depending on the circumstance, especially if it has something to do with sin and attacks enemies, God will make every sacrifice for redemption. And that is what Jesus did. In fact, that was not the first time. You can even go back to the Old Testament when they were in Egypt, sacrifice. And we have it in Jesus. So number one is we celebrate sacrifice that Jesus has made for humanity. But the sacrifice leads us to suffering, paying a price for the sake of others. Because you are talking about Good Friday and the pain, the unfairness, the injustice that he suffered. And people are still suffering for the sake of others. There are people who are paying prices at their job places, hospitals, classroom teachers, farmers, those in politics. People are still paying sacrifices, suffering for the sake of the good of others. And the next one is Easter brings us to service, you see, because yesterday was Resurrection Sunday. Now we receive strength. They call it resurrection power. When people were down, the disciples of Jesus were weak, were scared, they were afraid. Then announcement came. There's hope for our future. Jesus is alive. So the resurrection tells us that we can serve, we can go out, we can be there for others because we have strength, inner strength. Jesus is still our Emmanuel. So if you bring the two together, Easter tells us that Jesus did it. We must learn it. We must learn to sacrifice, be there for others. But that will cause us pain, suffering, not because we are guilty. Innocent people can still suffer as we want to meet needs. And we must be there for others through service.
Talking about service, there are lots of things that happen during Easter, and especially Kwewu. Is it also about service? We'll talk about that, but I want to take a quick break here. When I come back from this break, we'll talk about the essence of service during Easter, and is Kwewu part of the service? I am back shortly. You're welcome back to the show. This is still the Easter edition of GH Today. We're talking about Easter, what the essence of Easter is. Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni Frimpong says Easter is about service. Those of us who go to Kwewu, Are we still serving? Yeah.
Lily, every celebration, not only Christian one, every celebration, they have 4 major components. During festivals, we do what we call recollection. We bring back to memory. We try to remember. That is what church people we do. All the church services we've been attending, try to recollect, bring to memory, and we reflect, you know. But every celebration also has participation, and you participate in different forms.
Right.
And you anticipate, you look forward, what do we get? Now, if all that Christianity offers us is when we recollect, we have spiritual strength, devotional side, we are not helping ourselves, you know, because after the cathedral, we must go to market. After church, we must go to the law court. We must come to media platforms like this. And we bring the reflections, the values from participating, going to church, if you like, into media platform like this. So you wake up this morning and you are here to work. That is what faith must do, faith in the public space. Now, when you go into the public space, like I said earlier on, some may go to classroom, some may be on media platform, and then some will also go into business, you know. So you send service after your reflection and everything on Easter. How do I take advantage the opportunities around us? You mentioned Kwawu. The president had been there. In fact, the former president was also there, trying to create market. You know, we are talking about sacrifice, servers, and everything, but we have unemployed young people. We have about 2 million Ghanaian youth. And if we can create, whether it's in the form of entertainment, music, whatever we can do to create market opportunity for Ghanaian young people, that is service. It's not only even Kwau. All other places, we in this country, and now with what is happening in the global market, must find out what can we do if we can enter into, say, big markets like US, the migration problem, pay these taxes. But in our own small way, we can create sports, media, even church people can create opportunities. They are part of the Easter ceremony celebration towards service, pursuing the common good of humanity.
But what do we see today? I mean, all we see very often during these celebrations, the rise of promiscuity. Does it still serve the essence?
No, we are talking about the excesses. Why we may have that side, negative side. And, you know, even though we may say we have whatever percentage of Christians in this country, people are free. When I'm hungry this morning, I must be free to say I'm hungry. You don't tell me how I should say it, or whether I should say I'm hungry or I shouldn't say it. You know, yes. So when some people are dancing, maybe they would dance the way you want to see when you go to church, or when you are in the mosque or other place, how you want things to be. But other people also want to dance in a funny place, but they are still Ghanaians. That's why we also have law enforcement agencies. So, but if you go there, you misbehave. Now, even there are traditional leaders who will not allow you. And the police service, they are all over the place. So the SSS we must handle. What I'm trying to say, we should not only look at the negative side, the dark side of life, and draw conclusions. Therefore, that's not the best way to go.
Since you talk about excesses, has the church been adulterated?
There's something about religion that, in fact, this country we must be worried about. There are churches in Ghana. My church, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, for instance, is close to 200 years. You can use, and it's not only in Christianity, you can use religion to manipulate people. When people are
religion
in need,
is the opium of the masses.
When people are in need, whether it's marriage, childbirth, poverty, unemployment, when people are in need, they are prepared to do anything to get out of trouble. And religion, because it inspire hope, is one area that people who are in crisis, religion makes sense because of the hope factor. And I think that is where our challenge has come from. We are a society full of socioeconomic challenges, and people are looking for solutions. And then I hear a preacher on radio, TV saying, I can pray for you, you can have X, Y, Z. And then now the SSS like you are mentioning Kwawoko, excesses in the church also start, manipulation, if you like. But we must also be very careful how the church has served our country in the area of education, quality education. As at now, almost all the best senior high schools, second cycles are church. The ladies' schools, all the Wesley girls, the Brie girls, St. Rose's, at them, the boys' school, Presec and Fansipim, and at the Prempeh College, Opokuwari, and yeah, these are all church. So when we are talking about the role church has played, we must be very careful. Health, you know, quality. Some churches, you go to Boko, unfortunately, though, the only regional hospital in that part of our country. It's a Presbyterian hospital, only that we are having, and we pray and hope. Maybe we'll talk about Boko later. Yeah. Agogo Presbyterian Hospital. And the same Methodist and Islamic also, Tiang Media Secondary School and Tiang Media hospitals, you know. So, yes, there are excesses, manipulation, but the same way, the Kwawu thing, that we as a people must be on the brighter side of life and find a way of correcting the wrong, but we must protect the good we have been able to build over the years.
Let's talk about chieftaincy, since you mentioned Boko. Chieftaincy and religion. Specifically, let me narrow it down to Christianity and chieftaincy. Do these two marry? Are there roles for either?
Yes. And again, still the SSS we are talking about. So we find the SSS kwawu, business, entertainment. Then we have SSS in church, you know, in any other religion. Then we are bringing the same. But the key ones are service. You know, even if some people are not doing it well, it shouldn't just try to convince anybody that therefore let us destroy that side of us. But some are also doing it well. Now, chieftaincy and church, because of what you said, that let's focus there. One institution that has served the interests of the church in this country is the palace, it's chieftaincy. Okay. Almost all the early missionaries that came into this country in terms of hospitality, security, is the chiefs who welcome the missionaries, wherever they came from. Unfortunately, now let me say so, there's existential tension between the church and the palace at the moment. Some of the churches have documented in their official church books that a Christian cannot be a chief. You know, it's their rating. A Christian cannot be a chief. And that is a tension, especially for Christian royals. You know, people who can help. Traditional chieftaincy is leadership, traditional leadership. Service. But then you go to church and you love your church, you are a royal, and they tell you, sorry, you can't go there and serve and still be a member of the church. Now, when we think like that, the church people, I'm one of them. You mentioned I'm a former Christian council, chief executive from all the mainline churches. When we go that way, we are not helping ourselves. One, we have 3 different kinds of chiefs and queen mothers. You know, we have chiefs who know they are not Christian. They have their deities. They don't have time for God. And some of them even will want to persecute the churches in their community. Group 1. Then we have group 2. They were not Christians. Chiefs, queen mothers, but their own children who have become Christian have witnessed to them. Some other chiefs have witnessed to them. Pastors in their communities have witnessed to them. And so they have come to accept the Christian faith. And they are looking for places to worship. Yeah. Pastors to baptize them. Then we use the old mindset, a Christian cannot be chief. So we deny them pastoral care. Some churches are doing that. Then we have a third group. They were Christians, committed Christians, but they see chieftaincy as service. And they want to go, they are royals, to help. And they have determined that the supremacy of God in their lives, the lordship of Christ, they will never compromise. And they are only asking the church, give us chaplains. Give us people to help me as a royal, to be a queen mother, to serve my people. Give me pastoral care, chaplains, to help me as a chief, to help my people. Service, education. Now, let me say this. Chieftaincy in the 17th century is different from chieftaincy in the 21st century. 21st century chieftaincy, let's start maybe in 17th. 17th, they were fighting for other people's lands. So Asante and Denchira and Achim and Kwawu and the North, everywhere, people were fighting. Now you can't fight for anybody's land. The police will not allow you. The Ghana forces will come and stop you. And those days, they were moving from one area to another for deities. Because they were fighting, they needed powerful deities to help them conquer their enemies, if you like, spiritually. 21st century, now, you can't fight for anybody's land. Chieftaincy now is education. Chieftaincy now is quality health care. If you want to understand what I'm saying, look at what Asante Hene is doing in Kumasi now. Years ago, Asante people will be fighting for other people's land and things like that. Now Asante Hene is fighting, but it's fighting for quality health service, Konfanochi. Heal Konfanochi, and mobilizing. That's what chieftaincy is about. If we use the old mindset, we will destroy it. Still, the SSs we are talking about in other sectors. You come to chieftaincy, and there are Christians who are condemning and destroying. If we destroy that side of ourselves, because 17th century they did this, we are not helping. You know, chieftaincy now is a fighting challenges of unemployment, prosperity. And this is where we need Christian chiefs, Christian queen mothers, like queen mothers, mobilize women empowerment, helping children. This is the time.
But can a Christian, can a chief be a proper Christian? I ask this because we know that in chieftaincy, you pour libation. At some point, you have to slaughter animals to honor the gods. Can a proper Christian be a chief?
Let me tell you a story, Lily. Growing up, I wanted to be a lawyer. Then I was told,
the lawyers are
I'm sorry if a legal officer is with us, just don't let me spoil your breakfast. That lawyers, are such wicked, dirty people that when they die, because they are so wicked, dirty liars. Oh, you've heard that story before?
I have.
Okay, sorry, don't tell anybody. And that they were on their way to hell. You know. So why do you go to a profession that when you die, they turn your body upside down because God doesn't want to, you know. I just want to get one person who has attended any funeral, especially family members who put bodies in casket, who has ever seen a lawyer who has been
turned upside down.
Just one. Who pushed that into my brain? And now you too, because the way you are, you've heard that story before.
Yes, I have.
I don't know how many of our viewers have, young and old. You see, these are mindset. These are mindset. I don't doubt what you are saying. But what makes us Christian is the issue of supremacy of God and the lordship of Christ. You see, when you are bringing faith into a cultural environment, it comes with challenges. That's how it happened in the Roman world, into Europe and all that. We need to do our homework well. How do we integrate faith into cultural things? I'm not saying everything is perfect, and we are still...
The UK has done it. I mean, the monarchy is linked to the church.
How did they do it? When Christianity moved from Rome to Europe, it was not like that. In fact, in the Bible, they say the kings of the earth will bring their glory to heaven. But when now I've been to Westminster Abbey, that chiefs, in fact, royals, they've all been buried in the cathedral. You go, I had opportunity, I was led to see royals who have been buried. How did they do it? Not only UK, Netherlands also have traditional leaders. How come they have been able to work on this to a point that the King of England is said to be the head of Anglican Church? But we come to Ghana and we feel that our Christians our traditional leaders, some of our Christians can. In fact, Lily, that is why it's taken me more than 20 years to research into this area. And I have recently...
Chieftaincy and the church.
And the church. You know, you can show to your audience. And we need to work on this. Look, Lily...
Towards Christian Mission to the Palace.
Yes.
This will be an interesting read.
You know, and it's all over Challenge, a bookshop, Assemblies of God, Kingdom.
So this is it?
No.
Chieftaincy and the church, towards Christian Mission to the Palace. So those of you out there who want to go to the palace, if you're Christian.
And the chiefs and pastors read this book. I made it like a handbook. I've done so many books, but this is my best book so far. I've done this book, I've done this book, I've done this book. But this must unlock something for us. Lily, what?
So if sorry to cut in. So if now that I have the book here, if you are a chief, a Christian, they say Christian in good standing, you go to the palace, you have to pour libation, you have to slaughter an animal. What do you do?
Lily, that's where I was going. You see, when Christianity came to this country, what they did, difficult areas, schools, they gave them chaplains. So almost all the mission schools have chaplains that will help you address academic challenges. Even now, universities. I'm coming from KN University. We have university chaplains, a Catholic chaplain, a Protestant chaplain. You go to hospitals, we have chaplains. Lily, even military services, those who are going out there to fight, shoot, and kill, they go with chaplain. Police service. You know, many of our institutions have chaplains that walk people through the challenges in that institution. Christianity has been here for long. Lily, tell me one area from north to south, east, west, Santin, Zima, ever, any chief that the church has provided chaplain. They gave us the lands. You know, Methodist Church, you come to Kumasi, from Swami Runabout to Wesley College, Mofretro, Wesley Girls, that stretch of land belonged to Methodist Church. All these years, ask the Methodist Church if they have provided chaplain for the chiefs who have given them land. My same church, Presby Church everywhere. Ask any church that have provided chaplain. So why we want to say the issues you raise, oh, but they do this, oh, they do that. What do they do? Where is pastoral care? Where is the pastoral presence? You're giving them gaps. You've distanced yourself from them, and you're only condemning them. That's what they know. If you want to help them, how do we do it? We go to church, we do teachings. We spend time on issue. When we need money, we spend time teaching. Find out if the teachings we do in church, whether we spend time teaching church members on chieftaincy, we're only condemning. And sometimes even condemning things that we don't understand. So I'm not by that saying there are no challenges there. But the church has created a vacuum, a gap. If we will be there and journey with the people, we'll be able to find answers. But you don't distance yourself and only condemn. It's like, I've never met you before. Oh, Lily is that. Lily has that. Have you ever interacted? Do you know what I go through? When I go to bed, do you know my tears? You see, so till the church gets involved and do what we call Christian mission into the palace, it's not fair to condemn the chieftaincy institution. It has its SSs, like we've been talking about, business area, religion area. Chieftaincy has its, the church must be there.
So if somebody is made chief or an existing chief, and then the elders come to you and they say that, oh, it's time for this festival, you must do this sacrifice, A, B, C. This is a Christian in good standing. What should that Christian do?
No, let's get to a point where not the first group. You see, I mentioned 3 kinds of groups. Those who don't have anything with our faith and our Lord. But the 2 group, Christians who are chiefs who have become converted, and royals, committed Christians, some church elders who have become chiefs. When we want changes, especially cultural side, traditional things, it takes time. We need a Christian presence. Now, Lily, let me say this. Some of the things our people are doing that we are condemning are just ceremonial. For instance, if you go to the palace and you find executioners, these are offices, rituals. Years ago, what the executioners were doing, when they finish the festival, the rituals, they give them even their own sons. They'll kill them without knowing. If they go through the rites, whatever you call libation, this, they kill this, they kill that. When they finish, they can kill anybody. Today, on your platform, no executioner can kill anybody. The police will arrest them immediately. You see? So all that they are doing is ceremonial. That is where the church must be patient and study the things we are condemning. Many of them, and the republics, are just ceremonial. Years ago, they will finish those rituals you are talking about, and their invocations. They are going out there to fight. if you go to Kumasi, for instance, when Asante Hine is, the people behind him, they have guns. One is called Japoma. Huh? Now, that particular gun, the priests, so they'll still have festivals, and that gun will be behind. Anytime Asante Hine says, a chief, Asante Hine, not any other, was ordered to kill his own wife before a war. That's the only way they will succeed. And so he took a gun, shot his own wife for Asante to overcome their enemies. Now, when they are doing festivals and you see that gun, and all that you want to do is to condemn, it's ceremonial. It's the same as Easter. It brings back to memory. It tells a story. If you only condemn, but why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? They are doing things that bring them back to some as far as 300-400 years. But we need patience. I don't want to give specific answers to your question. All that I'm saying that the church has been absent in the palace. So we are only condemning things that we don't understand. You see executioner and you are condemning. How can a Christian do this? I'm telling you, what they do is ceremonial. Some offices and some rituals are ceremonial.
Why?
The essence of those things, they don't exist. Executioners can't kill anybody, but they are still performing the rituals that they were doing 17th century ago. Right. We are condemning because we are absent. If we had been there, we would have understood that these are ceremonial things.
Okay, let's talk about politics and the church. Can these two ever meet?
Oh, sure, it should. I study political science at University of Ghana. And yesterday I was in church, I preached, and our young people will be having a program, and they said the topic, they are going to debate whether Christians should be into betting, into alcoholic production. Then they added politics. Say, why do you bring politics to betting? They don't. Politics is how do you pursue interest. Politics is everywhere. Politics is here. When you come to office, you must know how to relate. You are here. We are all coming from different homes. Your parents want you to succeed. My parents want me to succeed. All the cameramen, the engineers. So how do we come and manage our interests so that you go home with your achievement? But I also have something. That's what politics is about. Partisan is where NDC, MPP, we need it. And let me use your platform. This notion that politics is dirty. Politics is not dirty. I ran a program for Angola, Christian Council of Angola. Deliberately now they are bringing church people, youth, and preparing them to go into politics. We do that in church. Right. The churches in Ghana must now, the next generation of our politicians must be raised in church. Politics is good. Politics is not dirty. Christian is service. Again, back to, I think today we are running your show with service. The mere fact that there are excesses, it's good pastors, bad pastors, good chiefs, bad chiefs. In fact, media also, I think you also have some bad media people.
Of course. I mean that's why people are calling for regulations.
That's right. That is the same. So we have good politicians and bad politicians. But we should never make mistakes. I've known one or two bad politicians. Therefore, we must prepare Ghanaian youth to go into public service, politics, and serve. But let me tell you, we have a problem. I think that is where we must address. At the moment, one problem, we may not have time, politics of retaliation. And it's an area, for instance, you need a good Christian to respond to that. Politics, because we are in Easter. You see, I attend IPAC meeting, Interparty Advisory Committee, and I had accreditation to lead more than 100 pastors to observe. They just ended the election. We did the 2020 and all that. Now, we had one of, to me, most peaceful election before, during the 2024 election, then after. They are burning police station here and this and the violence. Excesses, again, you see. Now, I have worked with governments and all of them, now MPP and DC, closely. So we start going, what's happening? How come we finish such a beautiful thing and violence everywhere? Then they tell us, they haven't seen anything yet. What they did to us 2016, So I went to 2016. And then 2016 people tell us, if I tell what they did to us 2008, they say, what happened? Then they say, during the revolution, do you know what they did to us? Then you go there and say, but do you know what happened NLM? So we are a country, or we have become a country that we are just going around creating problems today for our children to solve tomorrow. This is where if you say Christian politicians, that's what I'm trying to, that you need Christian politicians who will bring their Christian values into the public space, that let us heal the wounds of our past, heal the wounds of history, rather than they did it to us, so we also do it to them, and then the tables turn, and the other group will also come, but that is what they did to us. So we are not solving problems. But if you are a Christian and into politics, and maybe let me use your platform to plead with our dear father and friend, our president, a very good Christian Assemblies of God, Ghana must heal the past, the wounds of our past. We must heal the wounds of our history. This politics of retaliation, if we don't break the cycle, our future is not bright. Because we will keep attacking, and sometimes even attacking innocent people. If there's one legacy you want to leave behind, please let us address politics of retaliation. Now, these are the things Christians in public space must specifically address because of their faith.
But you say that politics must start from the church. But what do we see today? The political parties, the various political fronts, are rather influencing the church because of money. Is that not the case?
You are telling me. So that
is the reality on
I
the
think,
ground.
Lily, what you are saying is the monetization in our political space at the moment. You know, and so you have party delegates, and now some are paying 5,000, 7,000, some are buying vehicles. Whether that has found its way into church, I think is what the issue are raising, that can the church be innocent from the monetization? Sometimes they go to church like donation, but I think they are trying to influence them. That's what I'm hearing.
Because sometimes they go to these churches, they make handsome donations, and the next minute
pastors start prophesying.
Yes, pastors prophesying.
They promise,
and pastors preaching and saying that. I mean, once you listen carefully, you know the line he's towing, that he's trying to influence. And see, the church has a lot of influence. The church has a lot of members. They whip people in line, and so pastors towing a certain part, telling their members or their congregants to vote in a certain direction. Right. Are we not diminishing the essence of the church?
Especially the prophecies. We've just finished 2024. And I like the issues you are raising. Now we must start reflecting on post-2024 general election. Where did we do well, and where did we also, especially the church, people like me, others must also do their own reflection. And you are right. You know, and the churches are not helping. Some, not all, but the churches must, and for instance, I'm a Presbyterian. Mr. Siedun Ketia is NDC chairman. He's a Presbyterian. Mr. Dan Boche was Dr. Baumier's campaign manager. He's a Presbyterian. So Presbyterians, I'm using my own church, must know that we are non-aligned. We should be non-aligned. All those prophecies and giving even impression that this church belongs to party A shouldn't be. Because in that church, you have strong NDC presence, including a whole national chairman sitting in front of you. And you have a whole, in fact, Damboche was even campaign manager, you know. But Baumier's, Dr. former Vice President, His Excellency's campaign manager, all of them sitting. How can you be doing those prayers and prophecies and all kind of that?
But is it wrong? I mean, if God reveals to me, why not?
Wait, the church must be a father figure sort of unifying factor. You see, that's how we must be. Partisan politicians are free to be NDC, MPP, CPP, but you, the pastor, must open your arms in such a way that when I come to church, you know, whether it's politics, whether by ethnicity, academic background, everybody must feel welcome. If we lose that, we've lost it. And that's why now when we have challenges, say, Boko, you don't see the role the church can play. If we get involved, like the scenario you are describing, we end up weakening the church. You see, because now there are politicians and others who know this pastor belongs to party A, this, or even traditional leaders who know that this issue, this person is that, this person. But our neutrality, and that must be our niche. People must trust us that when my pastor says something is good, it's good. Not because he is with party A, B, or he's with this ethnic group, you know. But when pastors begin to show their colors that I'm with this party, we get to a point when we are in crisis.
But pastors are also Ghanaians, aren't they?
Oh, yes. But when you accept, like you are hosting a program this morning, there are red lines for you that your people will not allow you to cross.
Absolutely.
So professionalism, credibility, your niche,
integrity.
Really has yes. That's the difference between you and all the others. Even on social media, some can go on social media and throw trash. You will not be allowed because there are people who are talking to you. You sit down nicely, but they are telling you, you've spent too much time here, move, ask this question. And there are editors somewhere that will not. That is how the church must function. We must be an institution of calm. And colleague pastors, let's be careful. 2024, some of us, not all of us, but we are talking about service and SSS here. It's in media, it's entertainment. We've said it. It's in traditional leadership, it's politics. It is also in the church.
Can we lay the blame at the doorstep of the Christian Council?
Because I'm here?
Yes.
Why?
I'm asking. Because
I thought you were my friend.
They superintend. Well, I'm your friend. That's why I want to find out. The Christian Council superintends over churches, don't they?
We do, but you see...
The regulation of churches, do you?
You see... Wait.
I like that.
Okay. You see, Christian Council is a voluntary organization. We have another one, Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic, voluntary. Ghana Catholic Bishop. The point is, some people give us impression that we have legal backing. We don't. You're asking me to reveal my secret. All those, Presby, Methodist, Anglican, EP, Baptist, Salvation Army, ME, Zion, about 30-something churches that form the Christian Council. People join voluntarily.
Okay.
There are many. In fact, I can assure you, no Christian council, doesn't mean they are angels, can go in public and do that prophecy, so and so will win, this so and so. They will kick you out from the fellowship. But there are others who don't belong to any. And Christian Council, sad to say, we don't have control over them. But many people expect us to be able to call them to order. And they also have lawyers. So their lawyers have helped them to know that the laws of this country will not support Christian Council to call them to order. That is where the problem is. But people keep coming to us, including you, that why do you allow the SSS to continue? At the moment, the laws of this country will not support Christian Council beyond our fellowship. And that's the painful side of Christian Council.
Is that why we're still struggling with corruption?
Oh, as for corruption, it's not Christian Council issue.
Because the church, doesn't mean that the church has failed to whip people in line. Not Christian Council itself, but the church has failed.
You are my friend.
Yes, I am. That's why I'm asking friendly questions.
To morality. Now, when it comes to that space, you start with admonition. We are meeting for the first time. You tell me, I've come to your platform. Also, here we do X, Y, Z.
Sure.
We can't take this. You advise me. If I happen to start talking about things that is not part of your editorial, you will caution me. If you can even ask me to withdraw, so here I can't take it. If I insist, you have every right to order cameramen, switch the camera off. In fact, you have every right to order me out. Now, pastors stay only at the level when it comes to corruption, admonition. So you go to church, and your pastor tells you, you are a young person, you are going out with a guy. If the guy doesn't want you, don't commit suicide. look for another guy or look for another lady. Now, if the young person decide that, no, my girlfriend has dropped me, I'll kill her. It's not church thing. It's a crime. So we have moved from admonishment to public space where the laws of this country must work. So when people come to my church, I'll tell them, don't steal, don't go to church work late, don't do this, X, Y, Z. Admonishing my people. If they don't drive basa on the road, if we cross from church, they move out from the cathedral and they go the opposite, you don't go back to the church. You go to MTT, you arrest the person. Arrest them. Allow the laws of this country. Galam say, I must go to church. And I said, don't destroy the environment. God is interested. And they say they will do it. Yes, church people are doing it. Please arrest them. So when we move from admonishment and you still talk about church, church doesn't have legal power to enforce laws. You know. So that's what the Bible says. Let those who have ears,
let them hear.
So if you decide that you will not hear, we are writing examination. And you've been to church yesterday. And the examination will tell you, you can't do X, Y, Z. You are a Christian, full of the Holy Spirit. And you decide that you go that way. The invigilators must arrest you, hand over to university authorities. And if they want to sack you, they must sack you. There you don't bring church. So our corruption fight must stay on law enforcement. Our laws must work. Churches must know their limits. You know. So, yes, when it comes to teaching, if that's what we are talking about, I agree with you. Teach your members. Admonish them well. Journey with them. If any one of them decide, churches, stay back. Allow the security people, the laws of this country to work.
Since we're talking about admonishment, there's a particular subject I'll raise, but there's breaking news coming in. Breaking news coming in from Rome suggests that Pope Francis has died at the age of 88. Yes, he died this morning at 7:30 a.m. this morning. Says at 7:35 this morning, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the house of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and his church. This was an announcement by the Vatican a while ago. His Eminence Cardinal Farrell announced this a short while ago that at 7:35 a.m. this morning, Pope Francis has joined his Maker. Pope Francis, according to the Vatican, taught Christians around the world to live according to the values and tenets of Christianity. So that's some breaking news coming in during our 11:30 a.m. bulletin. We'll bring you more on the life of Pope Francis. But the news is that Pope Francis has died this morning at 7:30 a.m. at the age of 88. The Vatican has announced. That's some sad news. Even though, I mean, he's old, but, I mean, it's not pleasant news when somebody dies. But, I mean, he's lived a good life.
Sure.
Yeah.
And may he rest in peace. The surprising side, but as for God, you can't understand God. Because at a point, his doctors, when he was on life support, at a point, they wanted to remove it for him to go. I think he reached that point.
Yeah.
And his nurses and others encouraged them, allow him. And then yesterday he was in public for a long time. So when I watched, say, wow, God has done it. And then
the following morning.
But
yeah, he wanted to bid farewell.
I want to believe that. And so beautiful. As for going, we'll all go one day.
Absolutely.
But let's be mindful of our legacy, the peace, the love. We must be human. We must be there for others. When it's our time, we live and we live.
Is it easy to be there for others? You know, sometimes people will offend you so much. People will lie, they manipulate, they do all manner of things. And it's very difficult, especially when people will tell lies that, you know that this has nothing to do with you. But you want to be
Lily, if you have two lives, like this holy man. If you finish one, then you start another one. I would say then you have a choice. But if you have only one, that will end and you don't know when, have your priorities in life right. There are people, when they push you that side, know what to do with your friends. And you can decide. There are things you can't fight, you can't change, and you have one life to live. When it happens like that, move on. Move on. Whether it's, in fact, painful to say, even church, family, relationship, move on. Have your life, because you don't have two lives. You have one. And always keep in mind, we will exit. So I will not live somebody's life for him or her with the pain they've caused me. I'll be myself and allow God to help me heal the wounds of my past. We must heal the wounds of our history. We will one day exit. And my prime life, I will not allow anybody to destroy it for me.
We're talking about admonishment before
Yes.
I had to break that unfortunate news. Many say that the church has been admonishing people for a long time, but during the SWL administration, the church was quiet.
I have played this game before because of my role as Christian counsel. I have heard this how many times? The church has journeyed with this country even before independence. Towards independence, the churches were all over the place. And during the revolution, the churches are everywhere. I've seen a former president, in fact, even current one, first term, and now and then NPP administration also. There's a way, of course, the church must also learn. I'm not going to protect anything. The more we hear what you have just asked me, the church must, because maybe they are telling us something, maybe we can do better. But the church functions in this way. There are meetings we hold behind the scene. There are so many things we do with them. Some they hear, they take us serious. Some they don't.
Okay.
Some we go public. And we get answers. When I was General Secretary, I remember issues that I raised, some with them behind the, and some even, as soon as you finish, ministers will call you that have heard you, and they give you a response. Some even they drive to your office. I've seen that. But whether the church was quiet under the previous administration, I don't want to believe so. Whether they took us serious, that is what we may need to discuss. LGBT, you are close to the cathedral here. Galamsey, a whole bishop and his people marched through the street of Accra. LGBT, corruption. You know, whether they took us serious, that is what I would want churches or people like you media to discuss the church's role in the previous administration, because there's a way, it's admonition. If I talk to you, and I think that's the same way we will do with the current administration. He has started saying that if I is even calling media, talk about my government, pastors, talk. I pray and hope it will not just be inviting us to conversation only to block us. You see, but I've heard President Mahama saying again, just talk. If you have anything, media people, you know. When we raised the issues, inflation was terrible. Unemployment, terrible. And if you tell me pastors were not talking about this, when we were even having their election, the monetization issue you raised earlier on. But if somebody will not listen, please, I'm not saying the church is perfect, holy, but if somebody will not listen, the churches will get Galamsey. Pastors moved into Galamsey's side, and people were even teasing them. Nothing.
Did it yield any results?
That is it. I think that is what we must. And then let's pick them and let's do a media survey. Find out, communicate. That's why you can catch the pastors. Find out. Normally, Christian Council will raise, communicate. Churches will have their annual conference after July, August, and they will end with pick those things and let's find out the issues that they raise. Levy, medical challenges. Find out. Even free SHS. And what places, because the churches are in schools. And you go to some of the schools, and even dining hall, they are having shifting. You take your food, you don't sit there, you go outside to eat, and another group must have. Find out churches were not addressing this. Listen to the Ghana Catholic Bishop. You mentioned Christian Council, Ghana Pentecostal Charismatic. So I think, Lily, the focus must be whether they took the churches as serious as they should have.
Are you by this suggesting that the previous administration obviously didn't take the church serious?
I think they are doing their own internal soul searching. So it's too early for me to say anything. But at least when they push the debate into our circle, then I'll say that they have the right to hear us and take us serious or not. But that the churches have not been saying anything, been quiet, I have a challenge with that.
So the church was not silent, just that you're not taken serious.
I get that impression sometimes. I have played certain roles. And we've been to all kinds of meetings. I've been to all kinds of meetings. And some of them, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Public disrespect of elders and all that. And some of them, and it's not only this administration, it runs through. I've seen that also.
You mean the previous
NDC.
administration?
Oh, yes, and NDC previously. Political arrogance. Maybe they have learned their lessons. We are giving them time to see what will be different. You see, real arrogance. And people, affluent kind of things, young people get into politics in a matter of 2-3 years. They are doing things that people have been in the university all their life, professors, and you saw it. People were complaining. You see, but that is all the church can do, admonishment. So maybe let me use your platform to plead with the current administration. The churches will still raise voice. Sometimes even they decide to silence voices of wisdom. They send their people to attack you, to insult you. I've heard that before, deliberately, so that you keep quiet. It's not only pastors. They do that to media people too. You see, deliberately, they pay people to attack you. If you don't have shock absorbers, your people advise us, is too much, keep quiet. You see, we've had that. And when they go that way with the churches and things are not working well, inflation, read all. At the point we're buying fuel at diesel 23 Ghana cedis per liter. And you are telling me churches did not say this. And they watch on. Close to election, they were still increasing fuel prices. Go and check. Then you come back that the pastors were not talking. Lily, as for this one, we'll find it.
What do you make of the 100 days of the current NDC administration?
Normally, the first 100 years are supposed to be like you finish your wedding and you're having honeymoon. So now I believe many people are just watching. I think there are people who feel, sometimes they talk to, why are you not talking about this? They are doing this. Said, let's give them space. But on the whole, I'm impressed. On the whole, not everything perfect. Some of the promises he gave, ye levy, and then the size of his government. This size of government thing was raised in the previous administration. The only answer we received was that I was in a hurry. There are things I want to do. That is the number I will need, But this, he also promised, I'll reduce the number. We are seeing signs of that. But reduction of numbers is also not the ultimate. We are waiting to see the real management of the economy. Because you can manage the economy with 5 people and you still create mess.
Are you going to be very critical of this administration?
If you are a pastor, what's your relevance? Not necessarily critical as or necessary destructive thing, but let's bring the relevance of the gospel to the public space. That one, yes. You see, and they are the best people. The relationship between the church and politics must not be like enemies fighting. No, Our political leaders, I told you earlier on, politics is good. They are members of our churches. We must love them. We must pray for them. But we must also pursue the common good together. What that means is when we feel something is not going on well, we should be able to raise our voices. The church must be the conscience of the nation, to our politicians as well. That one answer is yes.
Would you accept any role if you're given, since the church is part of politics?
Lily, I don't know who your pastor is, but I'm a Presbyterian. You've been to Methodist Church before?
Yes.
People like us, advisory roles, say serving on boards, you can accept. But active partisan political role, so long as I'm a pastor, and all, in fact, a mainline like the Christian Council pastors, if you want to accept partisan political, you must resign. Methodist minister who want to accept partisan political office must
must resign as a pastor?
Oh, you take a break. So you write to your church and you take a leave.
A break. Where lies your service to the nation and the church?
No. So you see, when I go to church, whether I'm NDC, MPP, CPP, I should be able to walk to my pastor without any restriction, whatever, that he's there for us. Now, you, pastor, must not also present colors that give me suspicion that he there is MPP, NDC, whatever. So he's not there for us. You see, pastors must be father figures, welcoming. Now, that role that we play, don't go there so that all others will feel welcome coming to you.
Will that not be a paradigm shift to the political arena, to see a pastor or a reverend minister at the helm of affairs, frontline politics?
It has not worked very well in many communities. Liberia has seen a pastor president, and in this country, of course, we have MP who is also
a pastor.
But,
Reverend Tim Fojo, yeah.
Yes. But on the whole, the advice we have is, if you want to commit your ordination vows, stay there and work among them, all of them. Because then, my dear brother and friend, we are good. But now, if he has to also work with NDC, I think he must always be looking at his shoulder, because everybody knows he's MPP. And now you see the struggle, whether some drugs are for an airlines, and you see what is going on. And he's so a pastor.
Should the church be speaking up in all of this, in all the issues happening,
yes.
Especially with the issue of drugs?
Yes.
Why is the church then silent?
How many churches did you visit yesterday?
Oh, just one.
And of course, the churches must also engage now media. Because you stay in your corner there. Maybe you are saying all the important things. But somebody must re-echo. So the media part of ministry must also be addressed.
Okay.
Now, the generation we find ourselves, you can't joke with media. So you preach powerful sermon. You need the media to re-echo what you are saying. So if the pastors stay in their small corner, preach powerful messages, and no media people, we are not happy. The churches must invest in media.
That is why a lot of churches now have TV stations.
Great. Oh, no.
Stations.
Some of their TV stations, I agree with you. But if you start preaching morning to evening prayer meeting in the night, that's not the kind of media I'm talking about. Media houses that are addressing national issues, public issues, critical issues. Yes, if you have your own media house to do that. You see, we must. The implication of the gospel must affect every sector of humanity, human life, young and old. At the moment, for instance, we are having Ghanaian students going to class with guns, destroying people's eyes. We are having relationship thing, and I've killed my girlfriend, and that kind of thing.
And my girlfriend has left me, so I've killed myself.
Can we be quiet? Some of them are in our churches. Their mothers are in our churches. Galamsey, can the church be quiet? Inflation, can we be quiet? Now, do you know T-bill rate? Pensioners that have put their money in T-bills. This one bond didn't work for us. look at us, Ghana, that pensioners were sitting at the Ministry of Finance calling that, give me my money. Those who left their money, T-bill has gone down. I don't know if it will even go below 15%. And you are saying, church man, yes. Now, why T-bill is there? Look at the inflation, dollar exchange rate. And you say, church must not be interested. Must not. Should we just pray about it, talk about it, understand them, get the expert? Let's talk about the economy. What is happening now in US? There are Ghanaians who are exporting. What do they do? And you say, church must not be interested. I don't understand. If you talk to me like that.
Okay, but let me take your final thoughts. It's time to go, but let me take your final thoughts on Boko. What should be the role of the church now? Because even churches have closed down in that area. What should be the role of the churches in bringing lasting peace?
Let's leave politics out of this. Whether NDC did what, MPP said what, whether some are even going back to President Rawlings and Kufuor. Some have gone to former President Nkrumah. And let's leave that. Boko people are Ghanaians. The people of Boko are Ghanaians. And they must have peace.
Sure.
Ghanaians must be there for them. And let's plead with anybody who has interest in Boko's conflict that for the sake of God, let's give peace a chance. Please. The things we are witnessing, Boko people are not strangers. They are Ghanaians. They deserve love. They deserve peace. Young people in Boko must have peace to go to school. Women. I'm a Presbyterian. We have hospital, and one of the leading hospitals, and now is becoming a worry that even keeping a staff. Now, in the midst of this crisis, if people cannot go hospital, pregnant women can't go to hospital, children cannot be sent to the hospital, what are we doing to the people the next 5 years? What will be the impact? So I don't understand all the political side, who is right, who is wrong, MPP, NDC. I've listened to all the press statements. Please, the traditional leaders, and like you said, let churches move from the south and let's spend time with the people of Boko. If we must do peace march churches, bishops, let's go there. The police, the military, but this is the time I will literally...
Is this something you suggest to the Otumfuo mediation team?
Yes, let Otumfuo also. But you asked me a specific question, the role the church is
going to play.
And I'm saying that at least if I can see pastors, not Mampusi, Kusasi, people, pastors, but even pastors from Accra, at that part of Ghana, that Boko is part of us. They are not strangers. You kill one Boko person, you've killed all of us. So I'm even looking for pastors from, I pray and hope that my friend, my own people, Christian Council, Catholic Bishop Conference, Ghana Pentecostal, let's mobilize pastors, neutral ones. Let's spend time at Boko. The gunshots are there, but let's go and silence the guns. Peace march, I'm not saying, let's go and let them know that we are here and comfort the Boko people that the church is here with you. There are Christians, good Christians in Boko. In fact, there are good Muslims also in Boko. Let even the church and the Muslims team up together and journey with the people of Boko and see what we also, faith-based organization, we can do. Boko people are part of us. We share the same common blood, and Ghanaians must journey with them. Churches and the office of Alimiyao, my brother, office of National Chief Imam. We have something we must do. We can't leave Boko alone. Boko cannot burn. We must not allow Boko to burn. We must be there for the people to know they belong to a nation, they belong to a family, they are loved, we care. What is happening is shameful.
Thank you very much for coming. We do appreciate. So if you're out there, you can go to Challenge Bookshop.
Challenge, Scripture Union, Kingdom Bookshop, KNUST, Assemblies of God Bookshop, and many more.
And read
it's a very good book.
Chieftaincy and the Church
Yes.
Towards Christian Mission
Great.
to the Palace. Well, that's Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opuni Frimpong. He's Senior Lecturer, Department of Religion and Human Development, KNUST. He's also a former General Secretary of the Christian Council. We've been having a great amount of discussions here on everything, politics, chieftaincy. And one profound thing he says is, let the church be involved in the Boko conflict for a lasting peace.